Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. How much of your income should you spend on rent or a house payment? In my decades as a financial planner, as well as my previous career in real estate, my standard advice has been to keep housing costs at or below 25% of your household income. In some places, today's real estate climate is pretty challenging to make that happen. We're seeing this certainly in Rapid City, South Dakota, where I live, where recent population growth has led to a housing shortage. And at the same time, stratospheric increases in both prices and rents, certainly since the beginning of the pandemic. Housing is one of the largest expenses in most budgets. Those spending more than 30% of their gross income on housing are considered house poor. This is according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, where they found that households spending more than 30% of their monthly income are likely to struggle financially. A February 1st, 2024 Credit News article by Sam Borghi reported on recent research ranking the most and least house poor states. Note that the study included only homeowners, not renters. This study reveals a nationwide challenge, with 30.8% of homeowners, both with and without mortgages, considered house poor. For those with mortgages, the number is 37.2. Even 20.8% of homeowners without mortgages qualified as house poor. Now, this really underscores the importance of including taxes, insurance, and maintenance when you consider the cost of home ownership. The state-by-state breakdown of the research is a reminder that when it comes to real estate costs, location matters. The 5 states with the highest percentage of house poor households include California, 43%, Hawaii, 42%, New York, 39%, New Jersey, 38%, and Massachusetts, 37%. All these states, except New York, boast an average income of $90,000, let's call it $91,000, which is significantly higher than the national average of $73,000. Now, who are the states with the fewest house poor residents? West Virginia with 20%, North Dakota with 22%, Indiana 23%, Iowa 23%, and South Dakota 24%. Those are the 5 with the lowest house poor residents. At least 30% of residents are house poor in 19 states, including the District of Columbia. All but 5 of these states show median household income levels above the national average. By contrast, all of the 10 states with the lowest percentage of house poor residents have median income levels lower than the national average. This makes a lot of sense when you compare real estate prices. The nationwide average home price as of November 23 was $388,000. California's average price was $794,000, while West Virginia's was $284,000. Now, this is a lot of numbers, lots of statistics, and not everybody is attracted to numbers and statistics. But based on all these numbers, one solution for high housing costs would be to move to an area that has lower real estate prices. Duh. And this is true even if it means a reduction in income. It could result in a higher living standard for you. Now that's not so duh. Wait a minute. I don't know, do I want to move to South Dakota where the average salary would be $27,000 less than where I live in New Jersey? And yet, even with the lower income, the number of people that would be house poor would fall by 13%. So these are two really major factors that we've got to consider. Is when our brains consider, oh, there'd be a lower income in that state. It does not mean there'll be a lower standard of living. So logically, it makes perfect sense. Move to one of the 10 states that have a much lower ratio of house poor households. Now, making a decision to relocate, that's based on much more than numbers and logic. There's a host of emotional factors that are involved. One of those could be something we call anchoring bias. I've talked about it before, where we fixate on one number as such as like our current salary. And it's really hard for the brain to grasp that we could accept a large cut in pay and end up with a higher standard of living. Money scripts like taking a lower salary means a step backwards can give rise to emotions like fear and anxiety and sadness, even just at the thought. I still recommend keeping your housing costs at or below 25% of your income if you can possibly do that. It may not always be possible, especially in regions with soaring home prices and living costs. The challenge is to balance the financial and emotional realities involved in finding an affordable and a nurturing home. Finding that affordable and comfortable home is a balancing act that involves both financial and emotional realities. Thanks for listening.